came ready.
I almost
love
got a witch's hat too, but I was like, it's probably overkill.
No, it is not. Never. I've seen that they're trying to like bring witch hats back. Like they're like these fashionable witch hats.
Really?
And yeah, I've seen them on, I don't know where, Etsy maybe, or just some random like,
I haven't
pop
seen
up.
that.
Yeah, they're like not as pointy. They're like a side point. Yeah.
A side point that droops?
Kinda, yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
I mean, I thought about it. I have hats that like I thought that actually I really like, but I just never wear because I'm like get all embarrassed in public. Like like anybody cares what I'm wearing. But
hats are a funny thing like that though. They're very polarizing. There's a whole like thing about them.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's true. I don't know what it
get totally judged against.
Yeah. And I love like when women or anybody wear like really cool hats and they like the outfits are on point. I admire them. I look up to those kind of people. I just can't. I'm just like, I'll just put on a baseball hat and call it a day.
It works for you, the baseball hat.
Well, thank you. That's when I haven't washed my hair or bathed in days.
That's me with my beanie in winter. I'm just like, what's going on under there? Nobody knows. It's just like
nobody needs to. Yeah. For all you know, it is perfectly not greasy under all of that.
Winter's crazy like that. And it's the same as like, I have my winter coat on. Am I wearing what I wore to bed underneath? Probably.
Or nothing at all.
Nothing at all. I can cut this out. I definitely go without bra to get coffee with just my coat. Just let the girls free.
Oh, you are bold. I look up to you. I
live in the city.
I am in
so it's like bras are optional in the city, It's a weird thing like that. Like I think the countryside is still different. In the city, bras are optional. I just don't always have the confidence to pull it off. You know what I mean? It has to be the right dress.
I didn't know this.
It's like that whole women's thing, like burn the bra.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You see
I'm
a
with
lot
it.
of nipple around cafes and stuff. But for me, I just can't get over the fact that like there'll be some seedy guy in the corner eyeing like just so if I
just zeroed in.
But I do have some dresses where I'm like, you can't tell in that, so that's not how you expected this conversation to start. You're like, it's too late for this shit, Melanie.
It's the perfect time for this conversation.
I don't even want to cut this out. This is hilarious.
I don't know how we got to this, but I'm happy we did. Welcome to episode 7 of the Publishing Persuasion, a podcast for writers, by writers, and just talking about all the ins and outs, the drama, the terror, the amazement that is this writing journey that we're all on. So welcome to the show. I am Angela Montoya, along with the pumpkin queen, Melanie Schubert. Melanie, how are you today?
I'm good. I feel like that was such an accurate, all those words, terrifying, scary publishing. I couldn't agree more. It is a fabulous, wild journey. I'm good. This week felt so, when you just have one of those critical shifts in your writing journey. I feel like this was one of those.
Yeah.
Weeks. As you know, I was umming and ahhing whether I wanted to share this, and I decided I did want to share this because I'm always trying to just share the journey, the good, the bad. And so as you know, I've been in the query trenches a little bit with Soul Swap, dipping my toes in, and I did get some requests for more material from some pretty big agents, dream agents. And yeah, the waiting is so intense when you get requests like that. Like I've never had multiple requests like that so quickly querying. So
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
itself was just felt major. And so I celebrated that as much as I could, because I just think it's been years working towards this point, and to actually reach, like, Pitch was one of those milestones too, but like just getting the agent people being like, yeah, I want to read more. It's just dreams. So this week I did ultimately hear back from both of them, and it was a no, thank you. And it's weird. Like in the past, I would have been really emotional about that and been like, no, what's going to happen? Is it ever going to happen? But I think that for the first time, I was talking to Jess Para this week, and she's just been amazing about it, because she was just like, go back over the feedback you got when you did the Manuscript Academy with Linda Camacho, the agent.
Yeah.
Like, go back over that. She's like, I still think you could work on X, Y, Z. And I was just like, oh, wow. Like, I freaking love Paris. She's not even going to let me pity party at all. She's just going to be like, girl, back, which is what I wanted, which is what I needed. And I was actually ready for it this time. And so when I went back and looked at that feedback, because I actually originally asked Para, what do you think of this agent? Should I fire some more out? She was like, I don't think you should send more out. Wait to hear from the others. You might still get some. I've still got multiple queries out. Could still be something there. But if it's not, she's like, that would be indicative of you need to tweak something. And I was just like, okay, like I'm actually ready for this now. So yeah, I wrote a whole new chapter intro, which is just boggling my mind. After you think it's so tight how it is when you think it that much, and you're like, how can I put anything else? Like, that's what boggled me, and why I'd followed a lot of Linda's feedback, but this particular stuff, I was like, I can't do this without dismembering my whole book. And that's why I had left that part. But I thought about it. I was like, if it was like a revise and resubmit instead of advice that I paid for, I would have done it like that without thinking about it. Do you know what I mean? I would have
funny, huh? Yeah.
But it's funny how when you've like paid for a product and you're like, well, I could do this. And so it just dawned on me this week. I was like, what if it was a revise and resubmit and Linda asked you to do that? Would you do it? I was like, hell yes, I would do it in a heartbeat. So I literally just duplicated the file, left the old one in case I cut out something that I would be upset about, and have been plowing away. And as I thought, I love it more than before, which is like kind of just overwhelming in the best way. And so now for my next batch of queries, I'll have this new version to query that just does things the other one wasn't doing before. So I'm so excited now. And it's surreal to come to a point where you're like, instead of like a few years ago, I would have cried over one rejection, let alone getting a no from requests. And now I'm just like, no, what can I fix? What can I change? And it's brought me peace to be at this point where I'm just like, it's not if, it's when. I'm just going to keep working, keep finding my people. And yeah, so that was like a real, even though I got turned down by 2 major agents, it felt like a victory. And I'm going to re-query them with the new version. You better believe I will.
Heck yeah. No, that just makes me so like just happy to hear. And it's funny that sometimes, like even when I have had like beta readers or critique partners, sometimes you're just not ready to take on more, like more work or more to invest in the project more, even though it like, it possibly could be this amazing thing, but your headspace is just not there yet. And sometimes you need to have that a little bit of a break or whatever it is that gives you that just like emotional, just kind of like rest. Yeah. And then finally, like it just clicks, and it seems like it just clicked for you. Yeah. And it's like full blast, like you're ready to go. And I'm so happy and excited for you, because You've already got fans.
You're going to be surprised.
I can't wait. You already have fans watching you and wanting to know what's going to happen to these characters. And obviously I am one of them. So I'm just excited for you. And I think a lot of what you said is just like resonates with me so much about just kind of taking the time to enjoy every moment, like every good little nugget you get, because there's so much waiting, there's so much struggle when it comes to, you know, the road to publishing, whatever. Like there's so much hardship that when you find those good little nuggets, like you better freaking celebrate, because that's what it's all about. Like it's all about getting to these like little steps. And, you know, it's a climb, it's a struggle, but when you get to those things, like just stop and enjoy the moment. And so that's something I definitely like personally need to work on, instead of just like, you know, focusing on, oh, I just want this to happen, or, oh, this is, you know, my dreams aren't happening yet. Why? It's like, no, like you've come so far and you're working so hard, and like just making friends, like our relationship, you know, the other girls from Pitch Wars and all the people I've met on Instagram and wherever, like all of that to me is the goods.
Yeah.
Like having the relationships with other writers and book lovers, like that is it. Like you know, I was just thinking back to like before I hopped on Instagram, and I was just like a lonely writer in my room. And, you know, when you find a community, like you have your people, and it's just special, you know? So that's any like hardship or anything to like laugh about or be excited about. Like I love hopping on and like chatting with you girls or just whoever, because, you know, that's the goods. It's just having someone to put a funny meme or you know, that just gets it, that just claps you on. So
a rude
I just
TikTok
working on it. yeah sending some good reels my way, the whole bit.
Always. So. No, that's so true, and I can't agree more with that. Like for somebody, I was quite negative to social media like years back. I was just like, oh, it's a waste of time, rah, rah, rah. But I think we talk about that a lot, but I think it's critical almost in this day and age to have that community, purely from a sense of without that, I think I was in complete denial about what I was writing, what my market was, like where my craft was at, what would be required to get published and to actually make a career out of it. And I think having a community to hold you accountable, again, like a younger version of me would have just been like, oh, you know, like I might have even thought something like, oh, you know, maybe they just didn't get it or something, you know, whereas now I'm just like, well, what can I do to make sure they don't put it down? It's like it's a shift in mindset. And when you have people who hold you accountable to like, no, girl, it's good, but it can be better, you know, as long as I have these voices, it's having these voices you trust, because I trust you girls so much with your advice, and it's good advice, and it's people who want you to succeed advice, which is so different from the competitive writers I had encountered in the past, who are like threatened when you have some small success.
Yes, have that excess.
Love that excess. But I literally said this to my walking friend today. I was just like, it's such a vast difference. It's like you have the past writer friends who would make you feel like you can't share your joy with them, like it's gonna hurt them somehow. Whereas with you girls, I'm like, which one of us is gonna scream louder? And that's what you've got to like, scream louder for each other's success. Like we're literally going to paint our bodies and scream it from the rooftops when our friends have books. And And that's what you need to keep going in this, because there's a lot of rejection. There's like dream agents rejecting, and at every step, I think it's going to be like that. It's just what we've signed up for. The longer I do it, the more I realize it's like even the people who have multiple bestsellers, they're over there. Like I follow Laini Taylor. She regularly has freakouts about her craft. She like has total yes. If you follow her and you read about it, she has major like imposter syndrome, and like she freaks out about drafting and whatever. She's a huge perfectionist and she freezes up with her writing. I followed her for a while, and like you never know that because it's Queen Lainey. She's like a superstar writer, but she's after all those books struggles with the same stuff we do. And I think it's just going to be like that. And it's just like keeping those voices in check, finding those people who are like, those voices are lying, but you can also do this, this, and this to be even better, you know? Sorry, my heart's all full this week. You wouldn't think I'd be this happy getting rejected, but I am, because I couldn't be sad. I was like, Sarah Megibao, how do you say it? Sarah Megibao requested more work, you know, like that's a big thing to me. So,
it's huge. It's huge. And it does prove you're on the right track.
That's because the thing. I couldn't deny that.
Yeah. No, you're on the right track. And that, 100%. Like that's a huge agent to spend the time. Like that's humongous. And so you better pat yourself on the back, girlfriend. Like that's
I'm already working my email back to her like, dear Sarah, I've been revising my manuscript based on some agent feedback from Manuscript Academy. If you'd like to take another look, I'm ready. She's gonna
I love it.
One more time. I just love her vibe.
Yes.
Sarah, if you're listening.
Yeah.
But so
put it out there. Put it out there. Put it into the universe.
How have you been otherwise? Still are you getting much work done on your new book?
Like yes and no. Honestly, I've been all over the place with this book. And so I keep starting it and getting to like a certain point and then realizing I'm getting it wrong. And so I've just been going back and restarting it. So I've restarted this darn thing like 4 times. And but I'm getting there now. Now I got it. So I'm excited. I think I'm very close. I needed to add a few ghosts in there. And so I'm pretty pumped about it. And here's something that I thought was very wild. So I like my home area, California, like where I'm at, like everything is about the gold rush. Like California was born from the gold rush. Everybody came here to mine for gold. So we have all these old mining towns all around me. And it's really rich history. It's actually really fascinating if you're a nerd. I am one. And so where I wanted to set my book was in one of these like kind of Victorian style manors that, you know, sprung up during the gold rush, you know, where the rich investors would live.
Yeah.
And I was asking, so when I was getting my hair done today, I was asking my sister, because she's getting married next year, well, have you guys finally found a venue? And she said, oh yeah, it's Empire Mine. And I was like, what? And it's the exact place I have in mind for my book. And so I was like, yeah. So I was like, listen, babe, where are you? Are we in the same universe? And she was showing me like some dresses that she was thinking of. And I was just like, this is literally my book. What are you talking about right now? So I was just like, okay, maybe I'm finally on the right track.
Yeah.
And obviously my little sister is vibing the universe around me because she wants to be married in my book. So So I'm excited.
Love that. I got a little shiver.
Yeah, hopefully
I love
there's
that
no
stuff.
ghosts. I do too.
Hopefully. Oh,
It's haunted. There's so many haunted places around here, and
gosh.
I love it, but I wouldn't go like spend the night, but I like learning about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's me. That's what I've been doing. Yeah, I went on my writer's retreat.
Yeah.
And it was so fun and relaxing, and yeah, it was just great. I got like 12K in, but you know, it's not good, but
that is good. You're so hard
because that's when I came.
That is great. 12,000 words.
Great.
Not like 100 words.
Yeah, no, I did it.
I'm proud.
Well, and I had to keep up with my friend. She got like, I don't even remember how, she got like 18K, and I'm like, but she stayed up. I passed out. She kept going. That was my wine night.
What have we already learned? Comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah. Oh no, I honestly, I was like, she kept going, and because she was on a roll, because we're both moms, and she works full time, and she was like, no, I'm getting there. And I was like, yes, go. I'm going to sleep. I can't. So I'm too old. I have to go to sleep by at least 11:30.
Yeah, so becoming a morning rider, you're doing your sprints in the morning. And sometimes
I'm trying.
it doesn't happen. Sometimes the new chapter I wrote, I did it like almost in one day. Whereas now I've come
That's
to
amazing.
Whereas now I've come to parts where it's like, today I did a couple paragraphs, and that's what I did all day. It's just sometimes it takes longer to knit it into what you're doing, and I think that's when you slow down, or if you came across an epiphany where you're like, it sounds like you've gone back to the start a lot of times, and that reread takes ages, and you pick up stuff that you change on the way. So it's all going to come together. Exactly. I'm so excited for this one. Like, I'm already your fangirl, as you know. Like, I am just waiting here for anything you're ready to drop.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. So I'm excited about it.
From what I've read already, it is so fun and sexy and everything I want to read. It's bestseller for sure. I'm just putting that out into
oh, yes. I'm ready for it.
Well, today we have my Pitch Wars 2020 mentor, the amazing Aty Behsam, and you all are not ready for her. Like, Aty is just a whirlwind of genius and ideas and creativity, and
like, she freaking works. Like, she does some things.
Yes.
Yeah, let me just read what her little bio from her Pitch Wars when she took over IG. She is an Iranian Persian writer, artist, translator, editor, and TEDx speaker. She is a full-time writing mentor, currently working on multiple story projects, including a fantasy YA novel, a historical fantasy manga. I
don't know. I should know.
You should know this. And a sci-fi comic. So this woman is busy. So I can't wait to chat with her. I'm impressed.
I'm so impressed. So let's get her on. Hi! Yay! Yes, it's so good to see your face.
Thank you. Same. Oh my God, Zoom just betrayed me last minute. Because I wanted to open the Zoom, and I was like, okay, I have it. So I was like, why doesn't it work? So I had to reinstall it. And then I went to Google Play, and it said, it's not available in your country. Why? Like, what am I going to do with that? Like, I have a question. Why should it be like included in the sanctions? Things like this? Like,
tell us a bit about it. I was telling Angela a bit about it. The sanctions, that's the word I was trying to think of. I couldn't think of the word.
I don't understand these sanctions are so stupid. And yeah, so I was thinking like, imagine our government Zooming each other. They don't use Zoom. We use Zoom. You little shit. Just let us do it. And yeah, so the only people who are getting hurt here are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it worked out because we were waiting. We were hoping with our fingers
I'm
crossed.
sorry for being late, guys. I was working until 3 a.m. here, and Iranians like staying up late. They love it. Like it's so frowned upon here if you just sleep at like 10, 11. It's like, you're going to sleep already? And they're like this. I know that. It's a fact. It's literally a fact. Everyone was like, are you depressed?
Really?
You're sleeping early. Are you depressed? Are you okay? Yeah. They think you're depressed. You're like in the chains of daily routine if you sleep like too soon. But not until 3 a.m. I worked until 3 a.m. last night. I was like, I have to wake up in 6 hours.
Oh my gosh.
No, wait, 5 hours.
We should have Zoomed you at midnight.
Look,
yeah, now we know you're up.
Look, it's red. What's happening to me? I'm a zombie now.
We're celebrating Halloween over here, so zombie.
We don't have Halloween, but happy Halloween. In about a month or so. Yeah, in about a month and a half, we have Yalda night, which is like the hibernal or winter solstice. We celebrate that.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's
we celebrate like astrological events. We celebrate them. Like we have like equinox and the solstice. One of the solstices is Triagon, which is like the start of summer. We celebrate that. And we celebrate Yalda, special Yalda, like not that we don't, stay up late, but at Yalda night, we say, wait, it's the longest night of the year. It's like
really?
30 seconds longer, 2 seconds longer. I don't know. It's very short. We're like, it's the longest night of the year. So we're going to stay up late. I'm like,
even later.
No, but families gathered before Corona hit us. Families gathered and Melanie knows what we eat.
Watermelon, pomegranate, dried fruit, date,
nuts.
And I have to thank you for introducing fesenjun and gourmet sabzi into my life. Angela, these are two traditional Persian Iranian.
You should try them, Angela.
It's so
I'd
good.
love to.
It's like Persian comfort food, and the flavor profile is like nothing else. Like I thought I was going to be able to compare it to something, like you have a curry and you're like, oh, this tastes like butter chicken or something, but the flavor profile is totally different. It's like sour and sweet, and then bitter punches you from here.
Especially like fesenjun, because it has like pomegranate and it has like walnuts, and it's very strange for people that we make a whole stew with walnuts. It's like a lot of walnuts. Yeah.
It sounds good though. I am intrigued. Yeah. I want some.
It's so good. Yeah.
Whoever comes to Iran, you're like, you should try this. But because Iranian food is not made in like an hour. We don't have like fast making food. We have to make we have some meals that have to be prepared the night before, because you're gonna let it brew until morning to be like thing. So
that's the good stuff right there.
Yeah.
Persian believe that you have to spend time for your food.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So thank you guys for inviting me.
Our pleasure. I'm noticing there's a bit of a lag, so we'll have to try.
Oh wait, should I go and come back?
All of us.
You're good.
No,
you're good.
No, don't leave.
Yeah, we don't want to lose you again.
No.
This is how every connection and every online call works in Iran. Because the connection is so terrible all the time. You're like, no, you're okay.
I'm actually so impressed with how good your connection is this time. I was not expecting it.
Please stop. You're gonna jinx it.
I'll knock on wood over here for everybody. Keep our good luck going.
The government is gonna hear you.
Oh, okay. I won't say anything.
It's like, oh my God, is she gonna have, like, she's not having a hard time? She's like relaxed and enjoying a call with her friends.
Would they record us? Would they record us?
Connected. How dare she? Actually, there has been some talk. They've been saying that they want to like disconnect the whole internet. I'm like,
really?
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
They're not going to do it for themselves. They're just going to do it for like commoners.
Of course, of course.
So how is
Wow.
If that happens,
yeah.
Melanie, if that happens, I'm coming to you. just prepare a room for me, please.
Once we get out of lockdown. Actually,
I'm gonna leave.
we are going to be getting out. Fingers crossed. Today's meant to be the last day, so fingers crossed.
Oh, that's nice. Guys, I'm sorry. In advance, I'm sorry that I play with my hair a lot. I do that a lot. Like I'm thinking and I'm like, I'm doing this. Like full hair. Yeah.
Well, you
I'm
have
weird
amazing hair, so I don't blame you. Your hair is gorgeous. So
I'm
I'd be all
sorry.
over that too.
Excuse me. You're the one to talk. Look at the hair. Oh.
It's all fake. It's all pretend. It's all fake.
Yeah.
Well, I am particularly excited to talk to you because, well, for one, I adore you and your artwork is amazing. Like your Instagram feed, I don't know how people are that talented, but like I love just looking at your pictures that you draw. And I was going through like your bio and I saw that you do comics and you write manga and you write young adult fantasy as well, which is just like how, here's my question, just how do you do it all? Because I can barely do one of those.
Obviously. Well, obviously I'm very greedy. but honestly, I think people underestimate the close connection between art and writing. And a lot of people think they're like whole separate things. Like, how do you do that? And I'm like, they're in the same spectrum. They're in the same place. I just have to access them. Because when I was I think I was 5 or 6, because my long-term memory is very good. My short-term memory sucks, but my long-term memory is very good. And so I remember that I would ask my father like to get me like art stuff and notebooks and everything, and I would try to tell stories through art. Like I make characters and I had like different faces, and I'm like, yeah, this is like I made characters with like animals, and I tried to just tell a story. And I was I felt very weird because I went to kindergarten and everyone else were like separate drawings, like for each project, and I had these characters and I would do everything like with them, like any kind of project, like the girl draw this, and I would do this with my own characters. And it's like, why you keep drawing them? I'm like, well, I love my characters. And it feels very weird, but I think I was always like that. So I'm not saying like I'm so special. I'm like other girls or something. I'm just saying that they're very closely connected, because I didn't know how to write back then. I was like 5 or 6. So I used this. And later I was like, oh, I'm going to mix like art and writing, like a page of writing, a page of art, a page of writing. And there, I don't know if you guys remember, but a lot of novels back then, a lot of stories back then, they had artwork inside them.
Yeah.
they don't do that anymore. And I was very disappointed later. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I aspired to be. How dare you let that go? So yeah.
So you kind of did it always together. Like it was almost like one medium for you initially, like starting with your art and then adding in your stories. And then as you were learning to write, it all just came together. I love that.
So I love the
image of like kindergarten Aty, like drawing her. I bet it wasn't even stick figures. I bet your kindergarten art was better than my adult art for sure. You know, it's like those.
I was a nightmare. Melanie, I was a nightmare in kindergarten. I still am, but back then it was worse because like I was a nightmare. I would rebel.
I bet.
Not a lot of people paid much attention to my artwork because they were like busy fixing my screw-ups and my evil plans, because I was like, oh wow, you're not gonna pay attention to my art. Okay, so when the kids left, they like the class, and after it took them like an hour to like wash their brushes, I'm gonna just dip them all into paint again.
Oh,
you told me, because they told me that I wasn't creative, and it just very much hurt my feelings, and it was very little. I was very little, but it really hurt my feelings because yeah, they put animals, and they were like, oh, okay, you guys have to color them, and they were like, make squirrels blue, and I was like, there is no squirrels blue. They're brown and they're red, but you're not blue. And and the teacher was like, no, you're not creative, because I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna show you how creative I am. It was a nightmare. I always put another poor person at the front. I was like, do this. And they were like, yeah, sure, we're gonna do that. I was terrible. I'm sorry.
No, I love that.
I apologize, my teachers. I was a nightmare.
The naughty
one. That
is
hilarious.
Well,
yeah, I'm picturing it in my head for sure. Mm-hmm.
I was so lucky. Jessica Parra made these into coasters for me with your art.
So beautiful.
Beautiful. Everybody look. If you're listening to the audio of this, you're missing out on Aty's work that she drew fan art of my Pitch Wars book, which was so lovely. And you fulfilled one of my writer dreams of having fan art. So your art really is incredible. So I'm sure it's come a long way from kindergarten art.
I let it go for a while though. I stopped like drawing for a while after after my brother died. He was really like cheering me on everything. So after he died, I was like, I'm not gonna draw anymore. I don't care. And I really regret that, because I think like I lost a lot of years that I could have become very good.
Wow. What got you started back?
Very self-conscious. What?
Well, what finally got you back?
I started working on my fantasy series, and I was like, I really want to draw these guys. Why can't I draw them? And for a while, I worked on realistic art and realistic styles, and I would use like the faces of real people as my characters, but it just didn't feel right, because you feel like, oh, they're actors, they're like musicians, they're like real people, and you're like, I really want my characters to, not real people, like acting, like thinking about them as my characters. So. And later I decided, like, why don't I, start working on my story, on my art as in anime or manga style. And I really fell in love with it. And a lot of people are like, no, your realistic art was much better. And I was like, I know. I'm not as good as I was, as I am in realistic, even in digital. But it just doesn't feel like these people now feel like the anime version of the real characters in my head. But those people, like real faces, they didn't feel like my characters. So yeah. So amazing. The stories got me back. The stories got me back, because I really envied anyone who would just sit down and start drawing the faces that were in the head. And I'm like,
yeah.
Go back. Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
so special. I know. I always, because you have these characters in your head as you're writing, and I always scroll through Pinterest for like hours and I can never find the right one. And I always wish I wish I could draw or do anything to get the right one.
I don't think a lot of writers say that, and I understand that's why I got into art again. But I don't think it's like some big thing that you can't do. Like, I don't believe in like, oh my gosh, he's so talented, I don't have the talent. Because the first thing that people say when you tell them that, well, you try, they were like, I don't have your talent. I don't believe that. I think if you love something, you gotta just do it, and you can do it. So I think for writers, if you're really into it, like you spend all this time, like you said, looking through pictures to get inspirations, you can spend the same amount of time to draw a very, very, very bad art of your character, but it's still your character. So
I'm going to try it. Try it.
Can we find a course and do it together? Because I've also thought, you know what you just said really struck me, because I was thinking that the other day, that it's just like writing in a way. Like you refine that same line a million times until you're happy, and it looks like the nose that you pictured, the eyes that you
pictured. It's true. Even like because we're like drawing characters and not just drawing. Like a lot of like artists, they're artists who do art for the sake of art.
Yeah,
they have characters for that art, but we have characters in novels. Yeah. And in like long stories, and we can really like work on them more than like one shot of a character doing something. So I think they have a different purpose and they have a whole different thing. But the thing with us is that it's very different for us. So sometimes you, even if your drawing is good, you draw a character and then you're like, no, that's not them. And it has happened to me a lot of times. People are like, oh no, but he's beautiful. I'm like, I know he's beautiful, but he's not the person in my head. He doesn't feel like him, because he looks a little bit like too outgoing. My character is not like that, or the opposite, So yeah, it's a whole different like thing from like doing art professionally and everything. So I think, writers, instead of like looking through pictures and everything, it's okay. I do that with music. I cannot write without music. I can't. I have to have an album. Really? No, not just one album. Like I have to have like multiple albums, like scores and soundtrack, if I want to work on a book. I understand that, but I can't just become a musician, okay? But art is different. It's like you just struck. Yeah, it's, and I'm not like a professional artist. I'm just an artist. So like
you sell yourself, or you are. I think even just in the time that I've followed your career, the stuff that you've dropped lately, like you've always been great, but I think that probably what stops people like Angela and I is knowing that to get to the level that you've gotten to, that is years of refinement as well. Like, give yourself some credit, because you've worked bloody hard.
Okay, yeah.
Like I cannot
kill me if she sees this.
No, absolutely not. I always like to think of it like everybody has a grain of talent, and then it comes down to how much you water that and how much you grow that, and then somebody looking at the starting block would feel like they can never reach the other side, like how high it is. But that's just years of you honing your craft, What's your favorite thing that you're working on? Because we were going to talk about some of the things you've been working on. There's so many. Tell us your favorite.
I honestly cannot differentiate between them. Okay, if I'm gonna be honest, I have a thing. I have a person, because it's like it's very normal, it's very natural, isn't it? Because it's like Iranian, the manga that I'm working on with Aty is I have a very deep love for it, because it's, first of all, it's about writing stories. It's a story about writing. It's a story about writers and the how much stories really matter and how they are overlooked by a lot of people as like some sort of entertainment, not taken like seriously as something that can form, they can like break and make nations, and they can, it's so much power that a writer holds, but people don't realize that, even the writers, they don't realize how much power they have. Like you can affect someone's thinking. Like imagine, like have you guys have watched Inception? I'm sure Christopher Nolan's Inception. I was like, well, this is what writers do. They put ideas inside people's heads. They're like, have you thought of this? What if this happens? And they just change people's minds, and it's so much power. And so I think there is my favorite project in the past years, not just recently, because the idea came to us like, the idea came to me like 10 years ago, and then I started working on it with Maya, and she added so much to it. I couldn't even like, she changed everything. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's not the same story, and it's much better. So yeah, I think it's very natural because it feels very personal. First of all, it's like a historical fantasy, and it's historical and takes place in ancient Persia, and well, it feels very personal. And a lot of things have sort of been destroyed over the years in Iran, and they keep being destroyed. Even like old places, ancient places, like protected places that were supposed to be protected, they're like being demolished and destroyed by the government overnight, and we're just waking up to find that building that was like built 100 years ago to the ground because they want to make a mall. And it just feels very, it hurts so badly, because you feel like some people are intentionally doing this, like intentionally trying to destroy a land, not just exploiting, intentionally trying to destroy a land. So yeah, I think Darien feels very, it connects to all of this like matters. So I think Darien feels very personal and feels very different from all the other projects, even though it's like a fantasy story, and it would there would be people who would be, oh my god, it's not how history happened, and we know it's a fantasy. We know that's not what happened. So because it takes place in a time that was like, we call it lost history of Persia, because for like a couple of hundred of years, there's no history, written history, nothing.
Really?
And it's like, wow, yeah, no written thing, nothing, no words. Even though it is said that that the people who were like in power, they were not like bad people, and it was very there were a lot of prosperity back then. There were a lot of like development in the country, and we just kept wondering why is it that there's no history or there's no stories like from that era, if they had so much development. Because the era before it, we had a lot of written, before it, like hundreds of years before it, we had a lot of written stuff from that. And the era after it, again, we had a lot of stuff. Why is it like that's why they call it the lost history. Even in Iran, you can find a lot of information. It's just like there's a whole book about like different eras and different like histories about like, I don't know, the clothes, the writings, or whatever. And then always the section about like Ashkanian, which was like this era, always the section is like one paragraph because they have nothing.
Wow. This is fascinating.
So we were like, wait, why? And so the idea that I had back then, like really wondering about this, was that like in these fantasy stories, writers are not allowed to write because there has been like a curse on the land. They don't know where it came from. And writers can bring a character, a monster of their stories into real life, like make an actual monster, make an actual living being with the writing. So the government was like desperate. They're not like bad people. They're just desperate. They're like, we don't know what to do. So nobody is allowed to write. Like, So they gather people like writers and send them to jail for like, you shouldn't like write. Do you understand? You shouldn't write. Okay, you can get out. And if they like don't listen, they're punished. And so like the main character is like this guy, 17-year-old writer who has been writing all his life in secret. It's been like 10 years this new law has been out, and he's like very passionate about the stories, and he's very angry. He's like, what are good right? Not every writer wants to make a monster and hurt people. Why should I be punished for them? And he doesn't really understand the complexity of the situation. So in order to hide, he literally joins the army that hunts down the writers. So nobody's gonna like suspect that, like a writer hunting other writers. So he just joins them, and because he's very lucky, he's very unlucky. he just ends up in the squad of the most famous writer hunter in the country. And he has very sharp pursuits, so he's like living his life in anxiety. He's like, it's gonna kill me.
My god. I am invested. Like, I want this book right now. Is this the manga one, or is this the?
Yeah, this is the manga, but it also because it's a power, isn't it? It's the power you hold if you like can draw and you can write. We're also working on multiple like light novels or short novels about the characters and what's happening. So we really, and the characters are just, I love the characters a lot. It's like,
it sounds amazing.
Thank you. It's one of those rare stories that I'm confident totally that the characters are like, each of the characters, none of the characters are going to be like, oh my god, I wish they would just go away. They were like, oh my god, I love all the characters, even though like there's a whole squad of them, but each of them like had as their thing going on, and I love them a lot. So
yeah, I honestly, I'm obsessed already, and I can feel like your passion for it, and I could just see the smile and joy on your face just talking about it. And that to me is like what writing is all about. Like just the joy on your face right now, like it just makes it all like make sense. Like how working with somebody and coming together and building this amazing story and putting these characters together and putting the art together. It sounds so exciting. And I like, can you finish it tomorrow so I can read it and get a peek, because it sounds amazing.
I can't promise you. But you guys are going to be the first ones to read it. Yes. We actually have a one shot that we finished like last year. And that one is complete. Like for those of you who don't know what one shot is, usually when you're working on a manga, and it's not like for every single publication, the Young Jump magazine that is like the most famous manga publisher ever, like with One Piece and Naruto and everything. Yeah. They actually brought this up in order to make writers and mangakas to be able to pitch their ideas in the form that they should. They have this like competitions and everything, and they have different things going on, different events going on, but they put this idea of one shot into play, which is like the idea of the manga. Maybe the characters are acting whole different, very different from the actual characters in the actual manga. Maybe the characters are not the same. Maybe like the characters even look differently. Everything maybe looks different, but the idea is the same. The main idea of the story. So you pitch that through a 40-50 page story. Yeah. Like maybe with different characters, maybe with different stuff, with the different setting, but the idea, you're pitching the idea. So we worked on a one shot last year. We wanted to like share the idea before like we start on the serialization and the whole like long manga. So we do have like a 55-page one shot of Dorian, which is very fast paced. Like a lot of things that happen in it, they might happen or might not happen in the actual manga in like 2 volumes. And here is like in page 30, it happens, and like way so fast. But it's like that's how one shots work. But yeah, we do have that, and I'm gonna send it to you guys later.
Yes,
please do. It sounds incredible.
I'm
excited.
I mean, I just got so immersed in everything you were saying. I am very aware that we only have 2 minutes left on our timer before it ticks out. So I don't even know where the time went, but it has just
that's not about engagement. That's about me talking too much. I talk too much. You should stop me. You should stop me. I'm like that. I always tell people, you control me, please.
It was gold. It's honestly been, I forgot how, well, no, I didn't forget. I said to Angela before you came on, I was like, you are not ready for all the creative genius that is about to explode out of this person.
I learned a lot, honestly. I am invested in manga now. Like I need it in my life now. Like this is exciting for me.
Okay, I'm going to tell you this. I always tell my writing students and mentees, because I have a lot of them, honestly. I always tell them, like, first thing, like in the second session of the whole like workshop, I always tell them that you shouldn't really be satisfied with one medium. Like if you want to write novels, yes, read a lot of novels, especially in your own category and your genre and everything, be up to date and everything. But you are taking something away from yourself if you're not also diving into other mediums. Watch movies, read mangas, read comics, read manhwas, which is like web comics, webtoons, and just read and watch and see everything. Watch anime, watch movies, watch series, taking everything that you can, because an idea for the novel that you're working on might come like while you were like reading that manga, or you were just reading a comic, like had nothing to do with your novel, had nothing to do with your medium or your genre or anything, but it was a good idea. It came to you while you were reading it. So I encouraged everyone, including you guys, to just, I know Melanie already does that. She had from the last list. So yeah, but I know Melanie already does that.
Angela to K-drama. So she, and I am so impressed how much she embraced it all the way. She watched.
I freaking love it
for me.
Yeah. May I encourage you to read more manga?
I shall.
So I did tell you the amazing explosive genius that is Aty was coming, and she came. She imparted her wisdom and her stories, and then Zoom could not handle us anymore.
Yeah. They said, you've got to go.
Yeah,
I'm just going to start calling her Miley Cyrus, because she came in like a wrecking ball and she took over, and all I could do is just sit back and listen, because she really had so many amazing things to say and blew my mind. And I'm feeling hyped up tonight.
And I've said this to you off the pod, but like, it's so fascinating to me every time we have a new guest on and all their different energies. And every person we've had on brings their own energy and their own kind of vibe to the podcast. And I love that. I love getting to see like the Margies versus the Arties versus the Para, you know, like it's all very different and exciting.
Yeah.
All the creative people we work with.
That's the truth right there. Beautiful and creative, and everybody working in their own way. And I love that she has like multiple projects at once, because that's just how her brain works. Really? And she knows what works for her. And I thought that was so cool, because, you know, so often we only hear you work on your one project, you know, boom. And for a lot of people, that's how it works. But for a lot of people, doesn't work. And so I loved hearing that about her as well, and how she works creatively. So yeah, I think it's just great that we're just getting to know more and more people, and also just kind of getting to know and realize that there is no specific right way. Like your way for you is the right way. And so yeah, I'm happy that we got to talk to her and just absorb her knowledge, because she is knowledgeable.
So we did have we put out some questions out to our followers, and we did have a few float through, and we didn't have a chance to ask them to Aty, but we can answer some of them. And Aty's actually sent us a voice recording for one of them that was directly for her. So our first viewer question was from Ophelia Morris. Hi, Ophelia. So
hi, Ophelia, love you.
Ophelia asks us, what's something that nobody told you about Pitch Wars, but you wish they had? So we can definitely do that one.
For me personally, I think it was like, I put so much pressure on myself through Pitch Wars, like just to go, 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 go. And I crashed and burned right after Pitch Wars of just like exhaustion, And I think you don't have to, if you can't get through 2 full revisions, 3 full revisions, like do not put all that pressure on yourself to perform. I mean, yeah, try your hardest, but there were days where I was like, what in the hell am I doing? But I did it, and I'm happy I did it, but also I should have gave myself more grace in the doing of it, because there were times where I just wanted to pull my hair out, and for no good reason. Like I put like deadlines for myself, where Margie was like, no, just get it to me whenever you can. I'm like, no, it's got to be this day, and I went nuts. And so I think for me, it's just like giving yourself the grace and just relaxing into it a little tiny bit, because there is pressure. You obviously want to do your very best when you're in there, but also like do not be so hard on yourself. I think that was my biggest thing, was like, do not be so hard on yourself. It's okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Mel?
I think for me, it was probably realizing that Pitch Wars isn't the be all and end all of everything. It's one step in a writer journey, and it's a great one if you can. Actually, I screenshotted this from Twitter just yesterday because I loved it so much, and Pitch Wars had retweeted. Pitch Wars had retweeted this quote from Marianne Marlowe, and she said, Pitch Wars mentors aren't gatekeepers. We don't reject, we choose. And what we choose is so specific to our abilities and taste. It's not you, it's us, seriously. And I was just like, that's so accurate of like what I understand now about Pitch Wars, that, even if you don't get in, it doesn't even necessarily mean your work's not there or your work's not good. It's literally just, this resonated with someone. And if you got in and you got a mentor, this is a part of your journey. It's not like the moment of like your grades coming out. And I think kind of put that pressure on it as if this is the moment our grades are being revealed, and if I didn't get an A, I can't study XYZ. But it's not like that. And I think if you reframe it for the learning process it is and the networking process it is, everyone gets to benefit. And I feel like the whole program is just wonderful, in my opinion, because I think it gives a chance for you for serious writers to find a real meaningful connection and an anchor in the industry to keep them going. So
yes,
that's
amen. Amen to that. And I'm gonna, yes, thank you. Because and networking, like that's it, honestly, like getting to know, if you get in, if you don't, like getting to know fellow writers and working together, talking with each other, networking, that's everything. For me, Pitch Wars, like that's my favorite thing that came of Pitch Wars, was like getting to know the fellow mentees, the mentors, like getting to know the Pitch Wars family, and even people who didn't get in, whatever, like it just gives you something to talk about and then build on. So yes, thank you, Melanie, for saying that.
We've got so much fun on this podcast. So did you have a question that came through on your end too?
I lost it.
You lost it. Unlucky. Yeah. Well, the other one that I had come through, one was a sticker response. Hi, Aty. I can't wait to read your manga. So I have to read that one because Aty, your fans are waiting and excited to read your manga. And so the other one that we had come through, does politics affect your writing journey? So that was for Aty. So we don't have her online anymore, but I did get Aty to send us some voice recordings. So let's play those.
Hey, I'm so sorry. I'm on the street.
That's the wrong one. Hang on. So let's play Aty's answer to that question. Does politics affect her writing journey? I'll put the volume up. Oh.
Hey, okay, so yes, definitely politics do affect anyone's journey or anyone's life, especially if you're living in Iran, because honestly, we are under pressure on both sides, and the US government on one side, their sanctions, which they do not affect, by the way, the Iranian government. Their children and all of their families are actually they all actually live in the United States very happily. So no, the sanctions do not affect them. The sanctions affect us as people. And me as a writer, yes, I am affected by it. And inside this, the country too, we are under pressure because we have with the censorship and with the boundaries and the limitations that they put on us. We are not allowed to write a lot of stuff, and we are punished for it if we do.
There's another one. That's crazy. It's hard to imagine being like punished for writing certain things.
And I think that's why her manga sounded just so beautiful. So, you know, what she's writing about. It struck a note. So
this is the next one.
Politics affect everything about an Iranian life. So writing journey is no exception. And as for me, yes, I have seen it firsthand when editors and agents, not a lot of them, to be honest, a couple of them, but that's still too much compared to the none that a lot of people get, have told me before that some of them even told me not to write in English because, well, as long as quote, there are English writers and American writers out there who would want to read your story. And it's a very political view, to be honest, and very race oriented. And it's not about me as a person or me as a writer. Before they realized I was in Iranian, they wouldn't really talk like this. And I've had an agent who canceled the call like 3 hours before schedule, and writers all know that this is an absolute no from agents. They don't do that. It's very unprofessional, and no agent does that. But just think how much their mind is affected by politics and by news and everything, that they would make such decision that would potentially harm their career if like someone goes on and tells everyone. I didn't like name them anywhere, but yeah, so it does affect it. But at the same time, I don't think it should really stop a writer, because we're fighters. Like, we have to keep writing. It's going to be like very hard for us, much harder than usual, but it's not impossible to, get what you want.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Shivers listening to that. I'm so glad I got to record that answer. I'm welling. That was beautiful.
Yeah. No, there's really not much you can say. I mean,
yeah,
that was beautiful and heartbreaking and inspiring. So yeah.
It is heartbreaking that there's all this stuff like standing in the way, but yeah, you can't stop someone like this. She is fire. And I'm
That's right.
all the good wishes out into the universe for her.
Yes.
And
yes.
Yeah. It definitely makes you appreciate the freedom we have to just write whatever the fuck we want and just have just be able to have like aware and dissect like issues in our own personal way, you know, the freedom to talk like that, because yeah, that's crazy with the censorships and stuff. So
yeah
makes
you thankful and grateful, and then just lights a fire under your ass, you know, just keep writing.
Totally. And it makes me remember like the thing that I told myself to never hold myself back was that I have no excuse like to chase the dream, being born in Australia and having no restrictions and like having a safe network around me, that I couldn't think of one real reason to not chase it, you know?
Right on. Right the fuck on.
Right? You were not ready for that at midnight or whatever it was. But it has been a very fascinating and enlightening episode of Pub Persuasion today, and we're very grateful to my 2020 Pitch Wars mentor Aty for joining us and sharing all her journey, her rich, wild, difficult, exuberant journey.
Absolutely. And we'll definitely put all her socials on Pub Persuasion, our IG account. And we're just gonna make sure to give her a follow and watch her journey, because this woman is going places. Totally. Melanie, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Yes, on the gram at Melanie_Schubert_writer.
Very nice. And I am on the gram as well, Angela Montoya Writes. I'm also on TikTok at Angela Montoya Writes as well. I am embarrassing myself every day for the craft, for the love of writing. So having a blast. So I'm so excited.
All for joining us again for another episode of the Publishing Persuasion. And I know both Angela and I, our hearts are just exploding with gratitude. And every time, please tag us in your stuff, because I shouldn't have joined you in my heart explosion.
No, add me in there. It's good. My heart has exploded.
It's been late in both of our countries. And I think we're ready to find out. But thank you. Thank you all. We love you all. And please keep tagging us in your stuff, because I know it makes my day.
Yeah, definitely. It's mine too.
It makes sense. I'm gone. It makes sense. So please keep tagging us in everything. And we're grateful to have you along and to be able to do this and talk writing. And next month, our guest is, who is that?
Hannah Sawyer. It's Hannah Sawyer.
Oh my gosh,
I know. I can't wait.
I forgot.
No, I'm good. Yeah. I'm fangirling hard already. So I'm excited. I
fangirled my pants off then. I did it because I completely forgot.
Yeah. I got her. Somehow we got her on the show.
I know.
We're cool enough.
I don't know if we are cool enough, but you know, we're getting some pretty amazing guests. So eventually
we're building our coolness.
We are. And so come along with us as we continue to build our coolness.
been great. It's been great.
I don't know even how I'm going to edit this shit.
I don't know.